A 3,000-pound cow crashed through the roof as the couple slept.
Killed by a falling cow sounds straight out of Minecraft. What's good, YouTube? Today we're gonna be doing Zach B films again. I know y'all liked the first compilation of it. Y'all know Zach B animating the worst type of deaths, the worst type of things that go on in the world and whatnot. Without further ado, let's get started.
A bullet fired from her lipstick tube, hitting the man. You see, while this looked like a normal tube of makeup, there was actually a tiny pistol inside.
Yo, imagine if she made like a mistake. Like she just used the wrong lipstick and her ass just goes, you know, let me try to adjust my lips and shit like that. Damn, nah, that's actually aura. Killing someone with a lipstick pistol?
With a twist of the cap, the user could fire a single shot. It was designed for secret agents who needed a weapon that wouldn't raise suspicion. By the time anyone realized what had happened, the spy would be gone, leaving no trace.
You see, this is why you can't trust women for real, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
A woman tied her barking dog outside her house, according to the story. And when the neighbors called the police, they decided to shoot it. But
good.
Their aim was terrible, and one bullet hit the leash, freeing the animal. As it ran through the yard, they kept firing into the dark.
Okay, who the fuck do y'all got as police officers? Stormtroopers, my nigga? What's going on? Where the hell are y'all shooting at?
The owner stepped out and she was hit.
Okay, look, yo, I know this is not funny, but in what world would your dumb ass step into the line of fire of bullets going your dog? Like, I understand you're trying to help your dog make sure that he's all right and shit like that. What did you gain from this, though?
Hit right in the heart. She was killed instantly while the dog survived.
And let me get this straight, that's when the dog wanted to pipe down? So you wanted to be hollering and hollering this whole ass time, but when the owner gets popped, now you want to chill. That tells you enough about the owner, I'm not gonna lie. This is kind of sad though, RIP.
The steel piles were driven deep into the ground, each reaching over 160 feet. On top of them, 12 million gallons of concrete was poured, creating a 12-foot thick base. And this connects the tower's main support columns. From there, the Burj Khalifa is built floor by floor, stretching nearly 3,000 feet into the...
I heard they do this because it makes hella money. Like, I thought they were just doing this just to do this shit. I was like, why would you invest in some dumbass shit like this? But they actually make more money in the first year than it costs, like, actually making this shit.
Sky. The steel piles keep it locked into the ground, while the concrete base spreads the building's weight.
Has anybody ever visited this shit? Is it cool?
She danced along to music while operating on her unconscious patients.
Yo, what song y'all think she was bumping? You know what? There's certain songs that I'm like, hey, you know, it makes you want to bust a move. So if that King Carson on some shit, but man, if I find a tube, man, it's just me and my twin. Like, I understand. If it's like some shit that makes you want to bust a move, I wholeheartedly understand. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to look at dead bodies all day.
And she would post the videos online, even singing as she cut into someone's face.
Imagine working like 10 years to get your degree, change your life, earn more than $100,000 a year just to potentially lose it because you wanted to be TikTok famous. What in the world made you think that I want to see lifeless bodies, unconscious bodies getting sliced into as a trend, as a TikTok? Yo, imagine seeing your cousin just unconscious and a doctor hitting the renegade on that motherfucker. Yo, I'm gonna get heated.
But when a woman went in for liposuction, she had a heart attack on the operating table. And when she woke up, she had severe brain damage and had to use a wheelchair. After seeing the doctor's videos, the family was shocked. They sued her for being distracted during surgery, and she lost her medical license, putting an end to her career and her channel.
Yo, that's tough, nigga. That's a double whammy. Nigga, imagine losing your career and the thing you worked for. That's tough, because if I was her, I would have been like, oh, at least you could, like, I don't know, move to like a low income country, still do your content creation, operate your shit, I don't know, get some kidneys. But it's tough. I would have a heart attack if I saw my surgeon emoting on me. For those wondering, she did lose her medical license and had to face over 5 years in prison. Wow. Now, I'm not gonna lie, definitely deserved. You can't be doing some dumbass shit like this. Real shit.
The device was locked around your body, forcing your arms, leg.
Yo, imagine receiving back shots in this position. Notice how I said imagine. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying imagine.
And head to fold inward. You were trapped in a crouched position, and the metal frame was tightened, squeezing your chest and abdomen. As the pressure increased, blood vessels in your face and chest began to burst, leaving bruises and swelling. Breathing became almost impossible as your lungs struggled to expand under the crushing force. The pain engulfed your body as blood blood pooled in your head and eyes, eventually killing you.
See, that's the problem with medieval tortures. How do y'all even think about this shit? Y'all gotta understand, for this shit to come to life, someone had to like wake up one day and said, think about it. Someone ass tooted up, knees to the ground, hunched up, and we just squeezed them. This is the type of punishments we gotta bring back. I don't want no goddamn electrical chair. Let's start doing these to people like Diddy. I promise you the world is gonna be a better place.
She tripped and fell, stabbing herself with a pencil. It pierced through her cheek before burying itself in her brain.
How sharp does a pencil have to be for that shit to happen? Like, I understand if like it hits you and then it pokes you and then it breaks after that. This motherfucker got to be the sharpest #2 pencil I've ever seen in my life. How does this even happen?
But at that time, doctors didn't know how to remove it safely, so they just left it. As she grew up, she suffered terrible headaches. Her nose bled all the time.
What type of doctors y'all got? Y'all niggas is paying y'all doctors in, I don't know, Monopoly money. What's going on, gang? What made y'all thought it was okay to leave a pencil in somebody's brain? Could y'all imagine just sleeping, churning over and shit? The motherfucker go deeper in your brain.
And she even lost her sense of smell. But finally, after 55 years, doctors figured out how to remove most of it, and her pain stopped, even though a tiny piece was still left inside her skull.
Damn, 55 years? Did she experience this during the 1900s? Do y'all think that shit feel good? There had to be some sort of relief. Either way, at least she lived a long life, right? 55 years, that's really good.
If you whip your arm out of the socket and twist it, you could lick your elbow.
Yo, Zach D Films, thank you for this, bro. Thank you. Now I know anytime someone tells me to lick my elbow, I can actually do this. Who asked you to animate this? Who actually wanted an animation to know how to do this shit? I don't think anybody really wants to know.
But for most people, that's not an option. Your arms are too long. Your tongue—
Wait, is this actually real? Oh God, that's close.
tongue is too short, and your joints just don't bend that far. But about 1% of people can actually do it. And this is because some of them have shorter arms, others have longer tongues, and some are just extremely flexible.
You gonna need some sort of I don't know, Tiana Trump type of tongue where her ass could just swivel around the whole shoulder. I got Wembenyama arms. I don't know if I could do that. I don't think I got the DLC attachments, to accomplish this feat. But if you can, shout out to you, bro.
He ate bats and washed them down with his—
You see, this is exactly how COVID started. Niggas wanted to say this is a crazy take, but it's not. You guys get hungry and start eating bats. Do you know how insane that is? I don't care if it's me and I'm starved and the only thing that's left is to eat bats. I'm okay. GG's. It was a long life. It was a good life.
He ate bats and washed them down with his own urine to survive. You see, the retired Olympian was running a marathon when a massive sandstorm hit. Unable to see, he became completely lost. And for the next 9.5 days, he wandered the desert, dehydrated and—
Let me get this straight. You're an Olympic marathon. Where the fuck is everybody else? Either you're #1 and you're above everyone else and you're just zooming, or #2, you're big as hell. Your weight class starts at the 300s. You probably breathe heavy when you're talking to people. How the hell does this happen? Was there no cameras? Was this in the middle of nowhere? Who hosted this Olympic?
and barely alive. Finally, he caught sight of some goats in the distance, and when he followed them, he reached a settlement of nomads. He was rushed to the hospital, and even though he'd lost 35 pounds, he made a full recovery, going on to run the marathon another 10 times.
I'm okay. 10 times, that means you really reminisce about that shit. You a freak. I know you, bro. You probably started a COVID.
They would stuff nails down the barrel to shoot at their enemies if they ran out of bullets. You see, loose gunpowder would be rammed into the barrel with a long stick, and almost anything could have been added on the top and pushed down. When the trigger was pulled, it would ignite the gunpowder, sending metal flying in all directions. So even though it was designed to shoot bullets, almost anything could be turned into ammo.
If you had an AK-47 back then, when these shits dropped, do y'all think you're surviving everything?
As he rappelled down, part of his gear suddenly snapped. You see, he ordered a new harness, but it hadn't arrived in time for the trip. And once he was there, his partner noticed his gear was damaged. But the world-famous climber began the route anyway.
You see, bro? I'm gonna tell y'all the 3 people that have the biggest balls I've ever seen known to mankind. Pause. Cave divers, climbers, and deep divers. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how this is like a recreational activity for you, but I'm okay.
As he made his way up the cliff, the harness scraped against the rock. This wore it down even more, and when he put his weight on the gear, the loop suddenly gave way. He plummeted 500 feet to the ground, tragically meeting his death. As he repelled,
That's tough. Being a professional never makes you immune to death. That's what people gotta understand, bro.
place the bottom of the bottle inside a sneaker if you don't have a corkscrew. Then hold it tight as you bang it against a wall. With each strike, air inside pushes against the cork, making it slowly move up. And after a few solid hits, it'll pop out enough to pull out by hand. If this doesn't work, twist a screw in.
I don't even drink, gang. I don't know what you want me to do with this information, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
They bite on the ant's leg, chewing until they cut it off completely. You see, if an ant's limb gets injured, the wound could become infected, and this can spread into its body, causing it to die.
Have y'all ever tortured an insect? One of the nastiest tortures I've seen on an insect, and if you do this, you're actually a terrible person. Have y'all ever seen a video of like people putting salt on a snail? You're evil as shit. Anyone who does that, you're actually a psychopath.
Instead of leaving it to suffer, other ants will lick the wound to disinfect it. Next, they use their powerful jaws to amputate the limb. The injured ant survives and learns to walk on its remaining 5 legs. A 3,000-pound cow crashed through the roof as the couple slept. You see, it had wandered in from a nearby farm and gotten on top of their house.
Let me get this straight. Y'all thought it was a good idea to build your house on the same level where animals could walk by your roof. Yo, like some of these things that be happening to y'all, I'm like, I wouldn't feel bad for y'all, but I'm just kind of like, how much of an idiot do you have to be to assume that a cow is not going to destroy your roof?
But the thin roof collapsed under its weight, and it landed directly on top of the man. The massive impact crushed his organs and broke his leg. The wife and the cow were unharmed, but the man's injuries caused internal bleeding, and he died the next day.
RIP, man. RIP, man. Killed by falling cows. Sounds straight out of Minecraft. Yo, imagine telling niggas, oh, my partner died. And they're like, oh, what, really? How? A cow crushed them. Nigga, nobody's gonna believe it.
A jet of water blasts from the fish's mouth, knocking an insect off a leaf. And it's not just spraying randomly. It aims carefully and adjusts for how light bends in water. To shoot, it squeezes its mouth and fires a jet of water like a squirt gun. It hits the insect hard enough to knock it down,
I ain't gonna lie, that's pretty OP.
dropping it straight into the water. And before it can escape, the archer fish quickly gobbles it down.
That's fine. I ain't gonna lie, 10 out of 10 mechanisms.
The needle is inserted into the dead spider, injecting air into its legs. And this forces them to open and close on command.
Okay.
Scientists can control this movement, turning the spider into a natural gripping tool. Since the spider's legs are built with microscopic hairs, they can be used to pick up tiny objects. And they could even be used in surgery, handling tools too small for human hands.
I'm sorry, you're telling me spiders is better at gripping things than some small ass pliers? You can't convince me that. Are we that terrible at society that we need a spider to perform surgery? Yo, let me find out the spider cured me, gang. Hell nah, I'm suing y'all niggas asses, bro.
Your car can slam into the wreck in front of you if you're caught in a pileup crash. Now, most people would just immediately get out, but another crash could happen at any moment. Instead, stay inside your vehicle and keep your seatbelt on. But if you see a fire, immediately try to get out of your door. If it's jammed, kick out the windshield and climb through. Once you're outside, move as far away as possible and
You not even gonna warn anybody? You could've just saved that other car.
call for help.
I ain't gonna lie, with how tight your pants are, you deserve to be in that accident. This is one of the most atrocious fits I've ever seen. You wearing some jean-ass leggings with some dress shoes. Bro, that shit should have been you instead.
They said the boy was trapped inside a giant balloon thousands of feet in the air. His parents called 911, saying he had climbed inside before it took off. Helicopters chased him as the balloon drifted over 60 miles.
What balloon did he fly in? Gang, this looks so cool. Honestly, y'all should just let him fly, bro. It's gonna come down when it gotta come down. I'd be damned if I had to destroy some cool ass spaceship that looks like this.
Miles away from their house. And after 2 hours, it finally touched the ground. But when rescuers opened it, the boy wasn't there. At first, they thought he had fallen out. But hours later, he was found hiding in his family's attic. When they asked why he was hiding, the boy said that his parents told him to. They had staged the entire thing just to get famous.
Yo, so before TikTok, we had people doing this. You know what? TikTok is not even as bad as I thought. We had people clip farming, potentially having their son get killed by a hot air balloon just for some views. Are we dead ass right now? The parents had to face 2 years in prison and paid $1,000 fine. All for what? Now everybody looks at you like y'all are liars, bro. They probably sent the children to CPS. You lost your child too?
This frog swallows its own fertilized eggs,
Oh, you're a freak.
sending them straight into its stomach. But instead of digesting them, its body shuts off stomach acid, turning the belly into a protective nursery.
Oh no, let's be real though. Some of them go down to stomach acid. You can't convince me, my nigga.
Inside, the embryos develop safely, feeding off their yolk sacs as they grow into tiny frogs. After several weeks, the mother begins to vomit, and one by one, the fully formed froglets crawl out of her mouth. You could slip out of the harness during a sharp turn if you're too
I am not gonna lie to y'all, bro. Roller coasters are the most overrated shits known to mankind. Like, one thing I'm tired of pretending is that people like roller coasters. Y'all overhype this shit like it's fun when in reality it's just not. Like, I try to go, ooh, nigga, there's no excitement. It's terrible.
short to ride. And this happens because the restraints are designed to hold people of a certain size. If you're too short, the harness might not tighten enough to keep you secure. But if you're really fat, the restraints might not lock all the way, which means they could.
Wait, fat people can't go on roller coasters? I never knew that.
He smashed a bottle of wine over her head, knocking her out. But this wasn't just some random attack. He was an author and had just published a book, and after reading it, the girl left a bad review. Instead of just ignoring it, he tracked her down through social media and traveled 500 miles just to find her.
I'm sorry. This doesn't go to show that the book was fucking terrible. Then I don't know what does. Whatever the review was clearly struck a nerve. So to some degree she was right. Because you're not gonna crash out this heavy over some shit like that. That's incorrect.
She was stacking shelves at a supermarket when he showed up and attacked her. He was arrested and sentenced to over 2 years in prison over one single book review.
You know what? This might be W promotion tactics. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Because now people are gonna be like, yo, how crazy was the book for this to happen?
The massive vat burst, releasing over 300,000 gallons of beer. And the explosion sent a 15-foot tidal wave crashing through the wall of the
This is the most normal UK occurrence. I'm not gonna lie.
brewery. Bricks were launched into the air and fell through people's roofs, while the wave of beer destroyed houses and trapped residents.
Your house has to be weak. How the hell does your house destroy off of beer?
Tragically, a funeral was taking place when the room suddenly flooded, killing 5 people. And days later, another died from alcohol poisoning.
Imagine the scenes if the person that actually died from like drowning. Do you know how ironic that would be? Why are you drinking beer from the ground? Ew.
After drinking the spilled beer.
Yo, RIP.
If an icicle breaks loose and falls to the street below, it could kill you. You see, a single chunk can weigh more than 250 pounds. And as it falls, it gathers speed, racing down at up to 100 miles per second. So by the time it hits you, it would have enough force to crush your skull.
Why would you be under an icicle though? Why? Especially one of that nature. I feel like there's certain hazard points that you should just obviously know, like, okay, maybe it would be smart for me not to be here. But hey man, this is crazy. I didn't even think that this is a way people could die.
He fell and his shirt got caught in the escalators.
Yo, stop. You're not gonna do this to me, nigga. I love escalators. I use escalators every time. You know I'm lazy as shit. You're not gonna make me feel afraid of escalators.
Moving steps. As it continued, it pulled him along, causing the fabric to wrap tightly around his neck. And this caused his throat to close, cutting off his air supply. He struggled to take the shirt off, but the force of the escalator kept tightening it. And by the time help arrived, he was unconscious. Rescuers freed him and rushed him to the hospital, but it was too late.
Here I was thinking his body was gonna smush into the escalator. This is insane. Now I know never to fall in escalators, gang. You got it.
If a snake bites your friend, you might think
I'm sucking it.
sucking out the venom will help, but only a small bit will come through, not nearly enough to make a difference. The bacteria in your saliva could also get into the wound, causing an infection. And if you have small cuts in your mouth, the venom can enter your bloodstream and poison you too. Instead, keep the person still to slow down the spread of the poison and get them to a hospital.
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to wrap like a jersey or like a shirt around them, and then you're supposed to cut their arm off, right? Some of y'all didn't watch The Crocodile Hunter, and it's showing.
They had no idea there was a corpse under their bed.
Nigga, fuck the corpse. Nigga, who is she? Yo, Zach, you ain't never make make baddies look like this, my nigga. You make more of the characters look like this. I'm watching all your videos, bro. I might even drop like a GoFundMe for your channel. You ain't never make them look this good, gang.
They went to sleep in their motel room. They only noticed an awful smell.
I mean, I can't blame them. If my girl looking like that, bro, I'm not paying attention to anything else. I'm gonna be real.
To cover it, they burned incense, but it only got worse. Finally, someone investigated and found a woman's body hidden beneath the mattress. You see, she had been killed and stashed there, and over the next 2 months, her body slowly decomposed. As it did, the room was rented out to unsuspecting guests.
Yo, could y'all imagine the Yelp reviews and Google reviews they were getting? Worst experience of my life. That shit smelled like ass. Whole time they didn't know there was a dead body below them. That's tough.
When a blister forms over a burn, some people think they should pop it, but this exposes the wound to bacteria, meaning it—
No, I'm sorry. If you're popping blisters, you're disgusting. But if you're like poking out a freshly formed scab, chill, bro, you're still gonna bleed.
It could easily get infected, and once it does heal, it's more likely to leave a scar. You see, when the blister forms, it fills up with fluid, and this locks out germs.
I will say this though, do not pop blisters. That's disgusting.
Protecting the raw skin underneath and speeding up healing, which is why you should just let it go down on its own. If the soldiers used flashlights to read messages, it made them an easy target for the—
Yo, Zach, how are you gonna animate this shit so casually, bro?
enemy. To solve this, a French officer used raised dots instead of letters to read in total darkness. But the system was too complex, so it was scrapped. Then, a blind 13-year-old named Louis Braille
Oh, that's who it's named after? I never knew that.
simplified it, turning the raised dots into a readable alphabet. His high school for the blind started using it, but Braille was easy to learn, meaning students didn't need teachers to help them read. So the director chose a harder system to learn, just to keep the teachers needed. And it wasn't until 2 years later that Braille became widely used.
That's fire. Shout out to all my blind folks, for real, bro.
The fish nibbled on her toes to clean them, but this opened up an old scar, and the water contained a rare bacteria which seeped into the wound. Within a few days, she had high fevers and swelling in her big toe, but it took doctors a year to diagnose the infection. By then, it had spread into her bone, and they had to cut it off. She finally felt some relief, but over the next few years, she developed new infections.
If I'm in the hospital and I tell the doctor something hurts and they tell me, oh, we can't diagnose it or we don't know what it is, I am not leaving that hospital until they motherfucking cure my shit. I don't care. 1 year. Oh, you got me bent, bro. Y'all are making too much money to wait. No. The health insurance bills is way too much for your ass to be like, oh, yeah, it's nothing. My shit hurts. It hurts. You're curing me on the spot.
And eventually lost all 5 toes.
Damn. I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? At the end of the day, what are toes even for? You could still walk.
Your gums will bleed if you flossed for the first time in a while. That's because your gums are packed with tiny blood vessels sitting just under the surface. When you don't floss, bacteria builds up, making your gums swollen, and the blood vessels inside weaken.
The most harmless bleeding known to mankind is when your gums bleed. I will say the first time my gums bled, bro, I was terrified. I was telling my dad, what's going on? But after that, bro, shit, bro. If only all pain felt like that, bro.
And when you finally floss, the string easily tears into them, causing the blood vessels to burst. Since they are so close to the surface, even a small cut can cause a lot of bleeding.
There's nothing bad about that. If your gums bleed, bro, that means you're brushing your teeth good enough. I mean, actually, yo, I am not a certified dentist.
He jumped out of the plane, but his parachute got stuck.
Yo, I'm sorry. Some of these deaths look like it's straight out of like a Final Destination movie, bro. R.I.P. him.
Yanking him back and leaving him dangling mid-air. The cords wrapped around the plane's tail wheel, spinning him wildly as the plane kept flying. The crew tried to pull him up, but he was too far. And if they landed, he would be crushed.
Oh my goodness. What are you supposed to do in this situation?
2 pilots on the ground saw what was happening and rushed to help. They flew a small plane right under him, getting
Come on, bro. Please tell me he survives, bro.
dangerously close. One man reached out and grabbed him, while the other used the plane's propeller to cut the parachute's cords. This freed the man, and he was pulled into the
I ain't gonna lie, whoever's behind this team raised their money, bro. No, really genuinely think about it. For you to get the propellers of a plane to like strategically cut the parachute and being that close to another plane, yo, this man might be the greatest pilot of all time.
After release, the string can tear into your skin, breaking blood vessels underneath if it slaps back on your arm. You see, the moment you release the string, huge amounts of energy push the arrow forwards. But sometimes the energy pushes the string back against your forearm. To prevent this, archers wear arm guards made from strong
I never even knew that.
materials like leather. They absorb the impact from the bow, protecting the skin from bruises and cuts.
I like archery. I think I've only tried it once or twice. Pretty fun activity, to be honest.
A massive fire consumed the barn, threatening to kill the 18 piglets inside.
Kill them.
But firefighters put out the blaze and rescued the suffering animals. For the next 6 months, they lived peacefully on the
Yo, I know there's a nigga right here eating a baconator, a bacon, egg, and cheese talking about, Sala, how cruel are you? Ironic, buddy.
the farm. But these pigs had been raised for meat and were soon slaughtered. They
Yo, do animals like have intelligent enough IQ to know that they've been hoed? Imagine being a pig that survived, thanking the firefighters in your head. Just for the same dude that helped you live, he eats you the next day.
farm. But these pigs had been raised for meat and were soon slaughtered. They were turned into sausages and gifted to the firefighters, and they ended up grilling the exact same pigs they had saved
So they literally just burnt it.
just months before.
That's so tough, bro. Thanks for saving us. Don't celebrate too early. RIP, bro.
His pants burst into flames, burning his skin before he could take them off. And he wasn't the only one. It was happening to farmers all
Exploding pants? What company's pants y'all niggas rocking?
over New Zealand in the 1930s. This happened because they used a strong weed killer, but they didn't know it was super flammable and had soaked into their clothes. A tiny spark was enough to ignite into flames, and even the heat from the sun could make their pants catch fire. Some farmers got badly burned, and others were lucky to even escape. Eventually, they discovered what was causing it and stopped using the chemical.
Damn. There's probably somebody in there that survived the exploding pants or whatever and used the same exact weed killer the same day. That's tough, man. Hopefully nobody actually got seriously injured.
The crocodile ripped through the tent.
That's the first place you bite? They did? What crocodiles y'all got, bro? If this was Steve Irwin, I promise you would have survived, gang.
Grabbing the man in its jaws. He screamed at his wife to protect their baby as he was dragged toward the water.
Protect the baby? Gang, we are two fully functioning adults. If I see you, bro, I'm throwing the baby as bait. I'm obviously trolling.
But a grandmother camping nearby heard his cries. She ran out and jumped onto the croc, causing it to let go and attack her instead. Her nose was smashed by its snout before it grabbed a hold of her arm. But finally, her son found his rifle and shot the creature 4 times.
Amazing son, bro. How is the grandma putting in more work than you as a man, bro? I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure your girl looked at you like, this the dude that's taking care of our child? She probably divorced his ass right after this, bro.
If you get into a shootout, you might think hiding behind a car door will save you. But these are made of thin metal and
Yo, Zach D Films, who are you making these videos for, bro? Because I highly doubt that the people that are capable of being in shootouts hiding behind cars are not watching your shit, bro. I don't think they care about being this educated.
plastic, which a bullet can easily pass through. Instead, you should crouch behind the front wheels. This is because the rims are made of thick metal.
Are you gonna shoot out with the police? Are you gonna serve life in jail? Do not hide behind the car. Hide behind the wheel. Yo, Zach D Films. Either you or someone in your family lineage is a cartel member, and we don't know this yet.
And between them is the engine block, which is a huge chunk of iron. Even if the bullet made it through the wheel, the engine would stop it in its tracks, leaving you unharmed.
Yo, Zach D Films low-key a comedian on the low, bro. What was that ending? Next
He
up.
saw what looked like a human arm buried beneath the sand. At first, he thought he found a dead body, but as soon as he pushed the sand out of the way, he realized the arm was made out of bronze. The man had just found 2 ancient Greek statues, which had been preserved under the sea for over 2,000 years.
Is that worth anything though?
Experts rushed to the scene and the statues were carefully removed. They're now displayed as one of the most impressive discoveries of ancient Greece.
That's the problem with you, bro. You found some shit and you told scientists about it. I'm taking that shit. I'm bringing it to my household, bro. I hope you sold it for a good amount of money. It reminds me of that story of that dude that found like 700,000 in like a random place and then he gave it to the police. And then I think the police gave him like a $500 gift card and maybe like a discount to Little Caesars. Bro, some of y'all be getting blessed the wrong way, bro.
They say he had a second face on the back of his head, one that could smile, cry, and even whisper terrible things at night. Legend has it that the face couldn't eat or speak, but it was said to laugh when he cried and mutter words only he could hear. No doctor would remove it, and the man
So it's basically like a Siamese twin, right?
claimed it tormented him constantly. According to the legend, he couldn't take it anymore and ended his own life, leaving behind a chilling note about his suffering.
He was probably just depressed, bro. There's no way he actually had a second face. Anyways, YouTube, that does conclude the Zach D Films compilation. Let me know which death you thought was the craziest or incident. Make sure you guys subscribe, join us on Twitch, all that good stuff, man. Waxer for life. Road to 900K. Peace.